So, as everyone was aware, I had a little bit of a stomach issue last episode.
He puked
If you
multiple
watched
times.
it, yeah.
So
Not on camera. But.
Here's what happened.
What had happened was.
So before we started the show, I was just having a little snacks, just trying to gather what we're gonna talk about and stuff. All I was having was some chips and a little bit of queso.
Just a little bit of queso.
A little bit, maybe the whole jar.
A little
I
bit.
don't know.
I was going to say.
A lot of
Hold on.
queso.
I'm about to flip the table.
So, anyway, I might have eaten a little too much. We don't know. But I ended up puking the hardest I ever puked in ever.
It was just like an orange viscous ball.
It was just
like,
queso. It was just straight queso.
Pure queso.
So, what I'm trying to tell you people is watch out for the Walmart queso, okay? Because it might make you sick. But
Hysteria.
the next day I needed to recover, so I stayed in bed, for a little bit because I'm a big pussy. While I was in bed, I was Netflix and chilling, and I was watching a couple of
Chilling with Lorenzo?
yes, I was watching a couple comedy specials.
His dog before you.
It's my boyfriend.
Hey!
Let's see, what was I watching? I was watching the Tim Dillon one, American Hero.
He's funny.
I was watching that. It was okay. It wasn't.
I like Tim Dillon.
I do too, but
Just
it
in
was like
The
comparison
special
to the
itself wasn't that good. It was like mediocre.
I think it was kind of like the venue too, because he had voiced it and sound right on the mic, like it
So
sounded
the acoustics,
weird.
wherever
Yeah.
he was performing.
That's fair.
But it was still okay. And then the second one I watched was Sam, was it? Fuck, man. We just Moral.
Wow. All right. He was
Morrell.
thinking about this
Steve
before the
Morrell.
show.
No, not Steve Morrell. Sam Morrell. Listen, I was watching Sam
He's
Morrell.
gonna be the best manager. Never mind.
All right.
Sam Morrell, and he's fucking hilarious.
I
If
love
you guys
him.
have not
He is funny.
listened to him, he is hilarious.
The 15 people you just named are all hilarious.
Yeah, but Sam Morrell is hilarious, and I liked him better than Tim. I think he did a better job than Tim
I
Dillon.
enjoyed during the COVID times when, before comedy was back or you go back out to a venue or a theater or anything like that. He did rooftop specials, and I watched them all on
Yeah.
YouTube. Like that got me through some days, man, of just boredom and sitting at home. I'm like, you know what? Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that new special is hysterical.
I mean, we see you weren't playing video games. I mean, we see that you weren't, practicing or anything like that. So, you were watching a lot of TV. You weren't gaming.
He sucks at video games.
Yeah, that's what I'm pretty much saying.
That's what he's saying.
Okay.
But I mean,
Saying the chuckle hut, bud.
the whole pandemic.
Role reversal.
The whole pandemic led to a lot of things because obviously they couldn't do live shows, but they tried to do Zoom shows. I remember that, which didn't really work. They were doing
Awkward.
virtual comedy, and it the
awkward.
live you saying with the venue, the live crowd reaction almost makes the joke.
Oh, of course.
You can have a
Well, it
hilarious joke,
yeah.
but it doesn't
It helps.
having a huge crowd. If a crowd is dead, you're gonna enjoy the show a lot less if you're watching it.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't I normally like Kevin Hart. His stuff is kind of funny to me. I remember seeing one where he did a huge stadium, a whole football stadium. He sold out, and the comedy wasn't that good because the acoustic you could barely even hear anyone laughing.
Oh,
because it was
okay.
so huge.
So it seemed awkward.
Yeah, he was,
Every joke,
yeah, he was telling a joke and you almost heard an echo.
Well, that bombed.
And then it was and it was really weird. But
Speaking of bomb, I love how all the lingo has to do with, like Roger Rabbit. You're killing, you're slaying, you're knocking them dead,
you're murdering it out there.
break a leg,
You're bombing.
you're bombing. Yeah, dude, I bombed last
You're
night.
on fire, kid.
Yeah, what the? I don't know.
Do you think?
I like it. I just I find that interesting.
Do you think a person's voice itself helps?
Yes,
It can.
for sure.
Yeah.
The joke, even if the joke can be good,
Sam Morril has a great voice.
depending on the voice, could not make that joke funny.
But it's the voice inflection and how high it is or how
Like,
deep
like
pitched
name
it
a
is helps a
person.
lot.
Name a person who actor or act. Just name a person whose voice annoys you.
Bobcat Goldthwait.
Okay, so imagine him saying the funniest Bill Burr lines or something. It wouldn't
be
work.
I don't know, actually.
I mean, you gotta
even
have,
the funniest Bill Burr lines
Right,
could be
but-
said
but
by a
if he
fucking
was to
child.
But if he was to say it, I'm just saying, like,
Still
I think the
funny.
voice. I'm trying
it
to
can.
get.
No,
a little
it
better.
can. It can help, like, because you got to get them to like you. You know what I mean? At the same time, like you're not you're here to entertain them, but part of me still
You
feels
are a
like
court
maybe
jester.
right.
Just trying to, like-
And taking back into this is an ancient art form. If you think about a concept like that, you have a court jester, the rope. They were people that made fun of and
Right.
or wrote plays or something in different eras of time that was
Comedy and tragedy. Like,
right. It was entertainment for the people, and what made it funny was that it's embedded in truth or a truth of sorts.
Yeah.
Or
However bent it may be.
right. Or being
Just-
just outrageous for the sake of being outrageous, shock value. You know.
Right.
I have no talent, therefore I need to be shocking.
And talk about my vagina
You
for
can't-
45 minutes.
Not even
It-
just that.
Amy Schumer, you
It-
suck.
It's comedy is a good escape, and it's one of those things that no matter like how mad or how sad, if you watch somebody that you like, it really can change your mood.
Sure.
For sure.
Like, for instance, like if Kevin Hart, for example, if you really like Kevin Hart and you're having a bad day,
I mean,
or
he's
anything
alright.
Like that, I'm just saying, I don't know. That's
Yeah.
He's not on my,
I
like-
appreciate
yeah.
his
He's not
humor,
even,
but
he's
I'm
not in my
not
top
like
25.
I gotta see his new special. I'd probably pass.
well, okay. So let's talk about Kevin Hart real quick, since we're on that subject.
Okay.
To me, he is one of the few that I liked in the beginning, like when they first started. Like Kevin Hart's first two stand-ups were hilarious.
Yes. First thing I ever saw him in, real quick, was 40-Year-Old Virgin. Do you remember? He is the
Yes.
scene in the
Yes.
store. If you've seen that movie, you know what I'm
Yes.
talking about. If you haven't, just go look
With
up that
Steve
clip.
Carell.
Yes. Go ahead.
But so his first two specials he did awesome,
Yes.
right? But then he kind of got Hollywood and like mainstream. And then ever since then, like his comedy hasn't been the same. And now since he's like everywhere, he's kind of like.
Oh, he's
now it's,
also
like,
with
too
The
much.
Rock, which helps.
I have an observation to make, which I just thought of, is like, because obviously he doesn't really do anything offensive, because like you said, like
well,
he's trying
they
to
wouldn't
be,
let him host. Is
like,
that what you were getting
yeah.
at?
Well, he can't like host
For those
anything, can't be in
tweets?
the movies, can't be in with the tweets, but also like you said, he's basically Dwayne The Rock Johnson as a comedian. Like he's very like family friendly now.
Right.
Like
They're doing the Super Pets fucking
yeah, which I mean, like to each their own. But to be fair, like a lot of my favorite comedians like have some root in offensiveness because
Oh,
that's what makes
absolutely.
comedy funny. 'Cause
I like
it's
the
a joke.
guy, the comedy seller at Zoomies in Chicago, I think it is, like in those kinds of places where like it's almost like an old speakeasy from back in the day, and it's that kind of vibe.
What's the
everything's-
password?
But-
Everything's bricks.
But like
Right.
it also happened with the Wayans brothers. That happened too, where
The Wayans?
Yeah,
Fucking
the
love them.
Wayans brothers, and they hit a certain point to where then they became mainstream Hollywood.
I have
all
the
this other
first
thing.
2 seasons of In Living Color on DVD. If you don't know what that is, you're missing out.
Very
And,
funny.
and I'm throwing Gabriel Iglesias out there. He used to be funny. He's the big fluffy
Thank you
guy.
so much.
He used to be funny, and then the same.
Yeah.
To me, I noticed like it doesn't happen to everybody, but
It happens gradually.
it can happen like for whatever reason. But as soon as like they get big money or big endorsements, things change, and they're just not.
Or it's the
That's
same
funny.
shtick, and it's like I've seen this routine. It's just
Right.
different
Which,
words,
in my
but
opinion,
the same routine.
is what Gabriel, because he's just like, oh,
Thank you.
Right.
So,
Cake,
right,
yeah.
There's fluffy, there's big, and damn.
And he does have a lot of
Gotcha.
like
First
funny
time
jokes.
I fucking died laughing. This
Right?
guy's hysterical.
Right.
Seventh time, you're like,
That voice is the same voice for
Right.
every character you do. Got it.
yeah.
Speaking of which, I did write down, if you guys, I would love to hear them, your most overrated comics. Gabriel Iglesias
fuck.
made my list, so
Yes.
you already named that one for me.
I'm gonna add Kevin Hart
Okay.
because for sure
I was going to throw
overrated.
Kevin Hart.
Because like I said, he's not even in my top 25. Like he had funny
Can I
bits,
throw one
but-
out there real quick?
Throw one out there.
Jeff Dunham
I hate Jeff Dunham.
with the puppets.
I hate Jeff Dunham.
Really?
Fuck that
big
shit,
Jeff
dude.
Dunham
It is
hater.
so annoying. Silence! I kill you! I'm going to kill you if you say that one more fucking time. And
It's different.
all that fucking bull. Yeah, but
It's
being
annoying.
a ventriloquist, you are not good enough on your own. Like Carrot Top. There's another one. You're not funny enough. So guess what? It's like us. We're not that good. You know what I mean? So we gotta have a shtick.
His old guy puppet is hilarious.
Let's do shock
Walter-
therapy again. I mean, we could, but I mean, yeah,
his Walter is funny though. His Walter puppet's funny.
Yeah.
I like it. It's unique. It's different.
Carrot
It's like
Top is in
everyone's
my honorable
cup of tea,
mentions,
the
man.
first time, yes,
I like
the
Carrot
first
Top.
time. Same thing with. I almost said Enrique Iglesias, Gabriel Iglesias. I can be a hero. I'm sorry. Yeah, first time I saw Jeff Dunham, thought it was hysterical. Thought it was so funny, and then after and I'm just like, yeah, he's doing this thing again. All right.
So
There's
my
no like change at all.
It's just the same bit. So.
my overrated is gonna be Amy Schumer. That's,
She made my list as well.
she's overrated.
I'm gonna disagree, simply because I don't think anyone actually enjoys her comedy. Like she sells out, but I don't think like she's not.
Well,
She's
then-
definitely hated by like all of social media.
Then you're
for sure.
overrated. You're put into this spot where like you're like a top comedian, like,
Well-
and I don't really think.
Was it my Corinne, my ex? She was the first one like to be like, she's not funny. Like in my like circle of people before, like people started to become like, she sucks or whatever when she was on the rise, and putting out Netflix specials and all that stuff. We, because we tried watching. I watch stand up all the time, and a lot of it is, there's jokes about women and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, let's watch a female comedian, or comedian, because isn't that interesting? You're a comedian or a comedian?
That's
Makes you
en
think.
français.
There's Canadians, and then there's those girls that play hockey in Montreal.
All right,
But,
motherfucker. How many cups you got?
This is one right here. Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
Not funny.
He's trash.
Not funny.
He's
There's
trash.
one.
And
like,
you know who else reminds me of him that hits my overrated list? Andy Sandberg. Not funny.
That's
You
fair.
know who's not funny? And I love his podcast, Joe Rogan.
Oh, I thought he
It's
was
not-
gonna, his stand-up.
it's
I
not-
thought he was gonna make fun of me
it's
real
not-
quick. I was like already raising my
Hold on.
hand.
It's not funny.
You're right. The
At all
stand-up
whatsoever.
is not that great.
Mediocre at best.
He's entertaining though. He's fun to listen to, like when he's telling stories and shit. But like,
Yeah.
it's not fun. Like I would like to hang out with him and listen to him.
He's also
but-
part of Rogan's crowd, but Ari Shafir I don't like.
No,
I don't think he's
Why?
funny. He's
because of the Kobe
just
tweet.
No, I don't care about that. His
Right after he
delivery,
died.
his delivery,
He does that to everyone.
his
that day.
material, his voice is kind of annoying.
That he looks like a fucking crazy Asian cat.
Yeah, he's weird.
He's had a mustache lately. I like Ari just because
I
he's
don't like
over
Ari.
the top
Yeah,
offensive.
just to me, Joe,
I know.
Joe
I'm sorry.
Rogan.
He's
Joe
not
Rogan's
even,
a big
like,
one.
funny.
Yeah, Joe's just not.
Joe's a big one.
I don't
watched
dislike him.
I watched. Yeah, no, I still listen to his podcasts
Right.
and stuff, but I'm just like, man, it's just not the same with you as a comedian, and that's a shame. You've been doing it for so long, and yeah, you're not that good. That's just my opinion. What the fuck do I know?
I'm gonna throw out one last one. It's an old school. Gallagher.
Yeah.
Not funny.
Which one was that?
The guy that
watermelon?
smashes the fruits. He does stand up during this routine, by the way.
Yeah, but that wasn't his shtick. His shtick was smashing the water.
Right, because he's not that fucking funny. But it became this thing, get in the splash zone like you're going to fucking SeaWorld. Dude,
It-
they
it-
tried
it
to interview
worked
him.
for that
Mike
time.
Calta
It
tried
worked
to
for-
interview him, and Gallagher just was like a weird kind of dick. I'll show you the clip. And Mike just sort of like leaned back and was just like, all right, man, thanks. Like, I just said something to you to try and get a conversation going, and you just decided to be a weird dick. And he's like, oh, well, I mean, I guess I was. And so he's like, all right, Gallagher, have a good day, man. Go smash your fruit in the hall. Like, that was gold. Calta's funny. I've never seen him do stand-up. I don't know if that's a thing that he could do, but when he fucking does that shit.
I think
Smash your fruit in the hall.
I think a lot of like these there's a lot of good up and comers, especially now since they're putting their stuff out on YouTube.
And they all do podcasts as well. Isn't that interesting?
Right.
Sam Morril and
Mark
Julian
Norman.
Edelman.
Mark Norman do.
Mark Norman is so funny.
We Might Be Drunk podcast.
Yep.
Look that up.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
He just did one. Sam Morril did one with. He's got one with Julian Edelman, which I think is fucking cool.
And he was just on, what was it?
He was just on Joe Rogan.
Is this Garbage, or Are You Garbage podcast? And they were talking about, like, garbage sandwiches and stuff.
Garbage sandwiches.
But one person on
I don't like BLTs.
One person on YouTube that I'm really like vibing, and I think he's hilarious. Was his name Stavros Halakias.
It's Greek, you know. If your name rhymes with hippopotamus, I mean, you're
hilarious.
They're Grecian.
Hilarious guy. I like it now.
He is great.
I like it that a lot of these comedians or people in that field are putting out like either skits or like just like little like their Comedy Sellers shows that we used to not get to see. It was just specials. But now we're able
if you got big enough, right.
But now we're able to see them do shows at it's
like
at Seattle or any
yeah.
theater. And
Side Splitters.
Exactly. Side Splitters, the Laugh Factory, like anywhere.
Right.
Like
the Chuckle Hut.
The Chuckle Hut especially. But there was a time where we couldn't see that. We just had to wait. True. We just had to wait. Either you went to the show or you had to wait to see a special.
Which I think a lot of people might think that takes away some of the magic too. Like of going to like this not underground
Being
comedy show, but
is different.
Like there's only like 100 people in the building, and you're like, hey, this guy's fucking hilarious.
You never know who it's gonna be though,
right?
Dad went to, and this was music, mind you, but it was an underground show like that. There's like 50 people in this fucking bar, and this guy, John Mellencamp's playing. Who? Yeah, exactly.
It turns out to be huge.
But just because you go to
the show. He saw him just at a place. He just happened to be in
He also saw Carlin
Toronto.
When George Carlin had brown hair.
Just because you go to the show,
I remember he told me that.
I miss you, George.
You can go to the show and you're not listening to the same jokes you just saw on Netflix or whatever. It is different.
Well, with Stabby, that's a little different too because he does his unique form, and he turned me on to him.
He turned him on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, and he does,
especially
when he wears that jumpsuit.
His laugh is hilarious.
I was about to say that. I don't like his laugh.
All he does. He probably doesn't like Bert Kreischer's laugh too.
What do you like, Ron?
Yeah, who's funny to you?
Like, what do you like? Do you like anything?
No, I'm on something right here. Let me finish my thought.
Yeah.
Is that he does crowd work? That's his deal.
Yes.
It's all quick-witted. It's all on the spot.
And it's different.
He's all calling out to people.
And it's different.
Usually you don't want that. Because you're trying to control the crowd. This is your show. You have a whole bit.
Right.
You need to do the bit kind of thing, and you don't want interruptions.
Right.
He's just engaging with everyone there. It's almost like not only are you getting that experience, you're getting a personal experience as well. It's like when you used to do fine dining. You go out to a nice restaurant and everything like that, but do they come out to the table and like fucking skin the fish in front of you and fucking, you know what I mean? Yeah, give me some Salt Bae.
Dave Chappelle does that sometimes in his comedy now recently. Like he'll talk to the crowd.
I think Andrew Schultz does it the most.
Yeah,
as of late.
He does too. Who's that? There's that British guy, that English guy that you showed me, who's got a weird.
Jimmy Carr?
Jimmy Carr, I think that's his name.
Is a weird laugh?
Yes.
It's almost like Eddie Murphy again.
Yes, he does that too. He'll have people heckle him or whatever, and then he'll bounce off. And that's he's a killer.
Is asking for it, and he knows there's going to be at least 3 max that are going to do it, and when they do, dude, it's right there in the chamber, but he just holds it the whole time. The second it comes out, it goes right boom.
But I like it. Get the crowd involved. Like I think that's even a lot funnier than because you just get tired of the same shit.
And genuine reactions help a lot for with anything.
Which is why we don't really share a whole lot before we do a show.
That's very true.
Plus, you can always get a comedian stumped. Like you can say something like so outlandish that he it stumps him like shit. Oh no, like
if I'm the person if I'm another person in the crowd, I might feel bad for them. Be like, ooh, like they don't know what to say now. They've lost control of the room. Like,
I mean, to be fair, if they want to do crowd work, they have to be ready for that.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Lisa Lampanelli fucking stormed her fucking fat ass off stage the last time she tried to do something because people were calling, and she couldn't fucking control the room. And people were being, wild and rambunctious, but still, it's like, Yeah, she couldn't, and she fucking wasted everybody's money, and yeah.
So let's talk about you, Ryan. What do you like? Because I get the feeling you don't like anything. Do you even laugh?
I do laugh. In fact,
wow.
I really like stand-up comedy, and I want to do stand-up comedy at some point in my life. Like, I do like an open mic night.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, like.
Look at Tyler. He's so scared.
Obviously, like, you
Got
have
some material, dog?
Yeah, actually.
Tell me a joke.
No.
Okay.
Good
material.
That's one thing
I've got material.
That's one thing I hate.
I'm gonna say that it's a secret.
When everyone's like, "Oh, like, tell me a joke." It's like every comedian, like, it's completely different.
I
when
can
you're
tell
on
you a
stage
joke.
doing something.
What do you call a sleeping cow?
What?
A bulldozer.
Don't laugh at that. What are
That
you
was like
laughing
the.
at?
All right, I
It's
have to
his
say it
dumb
now.
la-
I have
it's
to
his
say it
dumb
now.
laugh
I've
at
told
the
him
end.
this joke once before, and he
Round
didn't.
bees.
Yes,
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you. So I went to a beekeeper to buy a dozen bees, and then he gave me a jar of 13. I said I only wanted 12, and he said that's a freebie.
See, it's his shit after that he does that makes it a little funny.
You gotta
Yes.
have stage presence, folks.
Which is a reason why it's.
That's why
different than
Dane
telling a
Cook
joke in
tricked
person.
people into thinking he was hilarious. You know, he'd be like
Oh,
saying something not
yeah.
funny at all, and he'd be like, you know, so I was at the grocery store, you know, and I had the shopping cart, you know, with the wheels, you know, how it
Yeah.
is, you know, when I go into the store,
Yeah,
and he's,
yeah.
just the way he's doing
Trickster.
it. People are like, ha ha ha, he's so funny. I'm like, he hasn't said anything yet.
Right.
You know who is funny? I already said him. George Carlin. He's my favorite comedian.
I was
of all
gonna say
time.
that made my list as well.
He actually, I remember Dad was telling me, I was like 7 or 8 when I figured out, or I guess I remember finding out what a comedian was, or at least like recognizing this word that people are telling me. And so my dad was like, you know, look up.
Person.
He told me to look up George Carlin when I was 8 years old.
Great advice.
So, and I watched, and the first thing I watched,
It really
I was
is,
like,
though.
that was like my exposure to like a lot of cuss words and shit like that. And like, I was like, whoa.
Not
and
me.
It was hilarious.
Showing you guys like Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs at the same age. You were like 8,
I probably
Matt was
didn't
like
even,
10.
I probably didn't even recognize. It was probably because Dad was telling me to do something. So I took it in a lot more. I was like, wait, what? But he like introduced me to comedy. It was George Carlin. It was like my introduction.
Dave
good one.
Chappelle, from like what I've seen recently, he's kind of turned into like a George Carlin.
I'm
like,
glad you're turning,
like that,
bringing
like
this
that
back
style,
up. Yes.
that vibe.
Because a
sort
lot of
thing.
people, when he did this last special, thought they're like, he's lost his edge.
Who, Chappelle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, he's lost his edge. He's not that funny. Okay. You're absolutely right. I agree with you on that. He's doing the same thing where it's like, I'm telling you the things that are happening that are fucking real, that is a truth, and then I say something kind of like fucked up to make fun of it eventually after a while. So then it comes back to a joke, but we're actually talking about something
Which
here.
is very much what Carlin
Very
did.
Carlin-esque.
Yep.
That's very
Right.
much Carlin did.
Yeah.
But like,
And I think I'm going to say this. I think a lot of American people are not the brightest, especially nowadays. So when they hear it from a comedian, and he's literally telling you what's happening, they just can't believe it. And they're actually laughing at it, even though it's happening. Like they don't really realize.
Yeah. Or they get upset. Go ahead, man.
you're upset.
Keep going.
Mitch Hedberg is
Thank
one of my
you.
favorites. I love Mitch Hedberg. Rest in peace.
I don't know who that is.
He's a very
love-
funny, he's like one-liners.
I love the idea of the escalator, because the escalator can never break. It can only become stairs. Put a sign on it and say, escalator broken, sorry for the convenience.
Yeah, no.
You really sound like him. No, he's really funny.
I think
Like,
the
a lot of his
idea
jokes are
behind
so
the Pringles
dumb.
company was to make tennis balls, and then the truck showed up full of potatoes. They said, fuck it, they're laid back company. Cut them up!
See? Dude, we'll show you Mitch Hedberg. He's so funny.
He's fucking great.
Rodney Dangerfield is also on my
Never
top
gets
5.
no respect, man. Show him
He's
some
so funny.
respect. Show him,
He
he just
does,
ripped
he
on
does.
himself.
I went
all
to-
no, but that was his
Yeah.
bit all the time. You know, I
Once-
was so ugly that when I was born, I came out. The doctor slapped my mother.
Yeah, but
You know, he's always ripping on himself. So
Yeah, but
that
look,
he was pretty weird looking. Can we
like a
agree?
bullfrog.
He's a fucking awkward looking person.
yeah.
Norm Macdonald is also on my list.
God, you are
He's a good
naming all of my fucking in memoriam right
That's
now.
a good one.
And
It is a
my
great one.
final top 5 in no particular order, Hannibal Buress is on my top 5. He is
he's-
so
What?
funny.
I think he
And you've
fell.
never seen his stand up?
I think he fell. He fell
Since
off.
when?
Like last couple years, he just fell off.
Fell off like not doing stuff, or
He's
fell
not-
off
He
like
hasn't done.
He's
stuff,
not that
and
active.
then-
right? That's
and
all I
then-
mean.
and then
But
once
like,
he
he's
got-
still,
and then
I'd
once he
still
got
get
that
excited if he fucking
No,
came
and-
out with a special. I would I'd be happy to watch it. You know what I mean?
I mean, when he
the
first-
last one,
when
the
he-
last one, he was like, I wouldn't. He was talking about becoming blind. I'd rather be born blind than become blind in
yeah.
life. For certain things, like, I don't think I could go back to jacking off to my imagination. And I'm just like, that is so right back. I never thought about that.
But honorable mentions: Mark Norman, Carrot Top, Louis C.K., and Joey Coco Diaz.
Louis C.K. is an honorable mention.
He doesn't hit top 5.
He deserves more.
He's funny. He's hilarious. He did get canceled, which was interesting.
Joey Diaz is a fucking
Yes.
killer.
Joey
Yes.
Diaz,
Killer.
so funny.
Mad Flavors World on Insta. Watch that shit. Oh man, yeah, I do have a list myself, but you know, mine tend to get out of control, and I don't want to get long-winded because a lot of different stand-up comedians have offered a similar perspective to something I was already somewhat aware of in my brain. I just didn't really know how to say it the right way.
Carlin was like that for
Right,
me.
I
He
was too
like,
young to be like really quick and be like, and because of blah 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 blah, and be funny about it. But Carlin, 100% makes the
He
list.
was a punk. Like, if people don't realize that, it's like all his attitudes are very punk
his
towards like everything.
bit about time. It's from the 70s.
Bit about time.
Yes, he does a bit about time. Just go look that up on YouTube. It's worth a watch. It'll make you think.
About time.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Since you guys like a lot of the older style comedians, like, and I really haven't got like a straight answer, and I think it's like really hard if you really think about it. But like for a comedian, like how do you define like who's great? Like how do you become great? Like you know how we can determine in sports and music and everything else,
have a perfect
comedy.
response.
How do you determine who's quote unquote great?
By selling out, but not selling out. So by selling out, like tickets,
Yeah, the
crowds, but
arenas
not selling
don't
out to
change
like,
who you are.
yeah, exactly. Selling out, but not selling out.
So who in your mind would fit that?
Even
bill?
though George Carlin did do like 14 too many specials, like he was putting them out like once a year towards the end, but I think he's
He narrated
definitely-
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah.
Explain what-
I remember
He was
yeah.
he was the hippie band in Cars, by the way.
Yeah. Fucking
Oh,
George
really?
I guess he did
motherfucking
sell out.
Carlin, dude.
Hey man, show some respect. This is Hendrix. I mean, he was in Dogma, in the Kevin Smith film. Like he was the Cardinal.
You know what I did notice? That Meg from Family Guy
And in
was
Jane
Mila
Silent Bob
Kunis.
Strike.
Yeah.
I really didn't know
After
that.
a while, not the first season.
Oh, okay.
Took a
After a while. So yeah, Louis C.K. You already mentioned Rodney Dangerfield. Louis C.K. hits my big time list.
He's very funny.
Dude, that man is so fucking funny.
The of
and-
course, but maybe is
Oh
so.
my god, dude. But
Of course, we should protect kids with peanut allergies, but maybe if touching a nut kills you, you deserve to be
yeah,
dead.
you don't. Yeah,
I mean, facts.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
honor the troops. But maybe if you go to another country and shoot at people and they shoot back, you kind of deserve it.
yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, you mentioned Dangerfield. Richard Pryor.
He was fucking funny.
Richard Pryor. I want to bring one thing up about Richard Pryor because he was also a comedian's mentor, Eddie Murphy. This is going to kind of take us into cancel culture for a moment here because if you really think about Eddie Murphy Raw or Delirious, if you've ever seen any of those specials.
The two specials that he did.
Mind you, it was the 80s, but hey, if we wanted, like Bill Burr said, if we want to attack John Wayne in a Playboy magazine that doesn't exist anymore
Right.
from the 50s for what he said in it, and you don't want to look at Eddie Murphy in the 80s, I mean, I don't want anything bad to happen to Eddie Murphy. Don't get me wrong.
Fuck John
I love
Wayne,
his
though.
shit. But, yeah, some of the stuff he says. But Richard Pryor was his mentor, and Bill fucking Cosby, of all people,
What about a pudding?
a clean comedian. No cursing. You know, it's family
That's who you
friendly.
gotta watch out
right.
for.
Right.
That's who
He's
you have to
very
watch out for.
smart. He's very clever, isn't he? Yeah, you need to keep an eye on him. I'm looking at you, Jim Gaffigan.
He was putting them in the pudding.
Yeah, beyond the
he-
pale.
he's
Beyond the pale, what, kid?
He's a weird one, Jim Gaffigan. And
Hey, he doesn't cuss
His
either.
only shtick is the hot pockets. Like that's his only.
I
shtick.
just changed my voice to sound like what I think the audience sounds like.
Yeah, he's not.
You're not that funny, dude.
I'm not into him.
Yeah, he's an amorphous blob that does look like like a potato. But yeah, Bill Cosby, of all people, was commenting to Eddie Murphy about the language that he uses during his shows. And that he should clean up his act a little bit and all that kind of stuff. And so Eddie talked to Richard Pryor about this, like just to kind of throw it off of him and see what he thinks. And Richard Pryor looks at him. You can tell Bill he can come over and suck my dick. He's like, what? He's like, do the people laugh when you say that shit? And he goes, yeah, they laugh. He goes, then keep saying that shit. And he goes, yeah, but Bill was saying that. He goes, man, if they fucking laugh, you're here to make them laugh. You know what? If they still laugh, then you tell the Bill to have a fucking Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up. And I'm like, nailed it.
Yep.
Have a Coke and smile, bitch.
Coke and a smile and shut the fuck
Because
up.
he'll give you pills.
Right. And Eddie Murphy told that story on Raw when he did that special. It was after he did Delirious and went on Raw. So if you want to look at something like that, like I said, don't want anything bad to happen to Eddie Murphy, but another one. You brought up the Wayans brothers. I brought up In Living Color. This was Jim Carrey's first gig.
Yeah.
This was when he was known as James Carrey. That's where we're at now.
He was so funny in that show with the
He
firemen.
was hysterical. Yeah, Fire Marshal Bill. I mean, the whole bit. Great characters. He had one called Vera DeMilo, which is today's kind of a little transphobic. If you were to watch, or the woke mob would go after it as being transphobic. He's basically a female bodybuilder. He's got like a string bikini on, and he's got little pigtails, and he talks to you like this, and he's still got his armpit hair and stuff, and he eats like a bunch of fake horse pills. You know, they're probably giant, mints or something. Yeah, yes. And he's like, like, he's being silly Jim Carrey as we know it. But if you were to watch that, there's no way they could put that out today.
No.
He almost looked like Patrick when Patrick was a girl in SpongeBob. Do you remember that?
Yes. Thank you.
Looked like Patricia.
It was
That's what they called it.
Patricia.
And they tried to get Dave Chappelle, which is
probably
probably why he's becoming Carlin-esque to tell the stories, because, like he said, they won't listen. To really listen. Like, how you guys are saying, this is a comedy show.
It's meant to be, like...
Right. We're going to take some truths, and then we're going to make fun of it. Like, even the SpongeBob episode where he's failing at comedy, and then the dude's like, well, I got to joke your act, and then he starts making fun of his friend. Right. But the problem, this is where it becomes a problem. If you single out one particular group, like squirrels in SpongeBob, now there's
Squirrels.
Yeah, that seems more hateful and direct than it is how he ended up at the end, realizing he's ruining a friendship with somebody that he offended deeply just by targeting one specific group and marginalizing that, instead of when he makes fun of the whole room. Soap, what is soap? Yeah. Don't get me started on starfish. I get it. You got to be able to laugh at yourself.
Yes, you got to be able to laugh at yourself and have tougher skin.
We do that all the time.
I mean, honestly.
Fat comedians joke about being fat. Chick comedians joke about their fucking vaginas and sex. You know what? Because those are things that are not great experiences for them. Right.
How many times you hear a woman comedian talk about, this guy's small dick and this guy can't fuck.
I did hear a funny one about, like, first time they saw an uncircumcised dick was a surprise. They thought it looked like a pig in a blanket.
But
shit like that's funny.
But here's the thing. Like, people need to realize that if you don't, and it's okay not to like somebody, just don't watch. Don't listen. Like you're setting yourself up to fail.
Unless they're really hurting someone, you don't need to destroy an entire
and they're not
career
doing it
or
on, and they're not doing it on purpose. They're just making jokes, and that's always been the comedians have always been pushing the envelope, the boundaries, and like trying to make uncomfortable situations and be able to laugh at it.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, we're all there,
therapy.
and we're all there to laugh.
Yeah.
We're not there hating each other.
They
and
take
all that
laughter
shit.
breaks in some countries because it actually
nowadays,
releases all the endorphins and dopamine.
But nowadays, everybody wants to cancel. Not just that, they want to label you aside.
Or label you aside.
At any point, if a comedian makes fun of Joe Biden, oh my God, he's a Republican.
Here's one right here.
We got to cancel him.
Russell Brand, now labeled conservative for expressing his thoughts and opinions and asking questions on his podcast. He was blown away by that.
Yeah.
When he was looked at as like, when Joe Rogan was going through the situation when we did that episode about the Neil Young business, the fact that Russell Brand has been on his show, someone compiled a list of conservative guests that were on the Rogan Experience, and they listed Russell Brand, and he's like, they listed me?
Right.
Are you fucking kidding?
Well, I also think that's, like, obviously is a huge rabbit hole to go down, but I think a lot of part of it is, like, just having only two political parties. Like, you have to pick a side, so you become polarized, which makes people, like, if you have an idea that's against your ideas, we should hate that person, we should cancel that person. And granted, society picks and chooses what it wants to, like, build up. So maybe, like, the opposite of going Hollywood is getting canceled. You know what
Maybe
I mean?
they're releasing stuff out of their own work now, like Louis C.K.'s new
right. They're not going
special,
through a
Sorry.
label or anything.
You can go
like
by,
that.
and Andrew Schultz did the same thing with his, even though he hasn't been canceled by any means.
Which
he's just doing his own thing and then selling it on his own.
He's got his own website. He drops his stuff on YouTube as well.
Which is the point, because
And
he's very offensive.
And he actually makes stuff to have people, like, if you want to see it or have it, you buy it, sort of thing.
But his stuff is, like, super offensive to a lot of people. Like, even, like, I can see, like, all his stuff is basically offensive. It's hilarious, but there's no doubt.
But there is
why
some
has he not been
there is
canceled?
some truth to it, though.
Well,
Truth to
that's the
everything.
whole point. It's embedded in truth.
You can't
or
cancel
truth.
somebody if they don't work. If they don't
if
work.
your service or platform is not the one that I'm going through and I'm putting it out on my own, guess
Right.
what?
It doesn't matter.
Jog on.
Right. And again, I say, why go? We're just. Why do you have to go through all that nonsense?
I like that right there. Again, I say, I like that.
What?
I've never heard him say, no, finish your thought, Will.
No, whatever. No,
That was awesome.
I lost it. So continue. Go
Didn't.
ahead. I lost it.
Because this is another thing, though. People don't realize, like, social media where people get, like, just obliterated off of it. Like Andrew Tate, who fucking blows.
Well, he deserves to be.
Hold
Yes.
on. I gotta. Hold on.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm gonna say this.
Go ahead.
Listen, this whole Andrew Tate shit. First of all,
Make a point.
I have not watched his shit. I've only seen his stuff in, like, little clips. Like, I don't go watch his podcast
Oh,
or
okay.
anything like that. I don't know who, like, whatever. I don't give a fuck.
Came out of fucking left field.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
There for a week and then disappeared.
Here's the thing. I don't support him, but I don't agree with him being canceled.
Why not?
What did he say or do? He may not
constantly
he
hated
may
on
not-
women and minorities.
He may not say shit that you like, but he has every right to have that channel. You have the
No.
Taliban has Twitter, and they're able to put out their propaganda. You still have KKK members that are able to put out their stuff.
That's fair.
How many, Black Lives Matter stuff do we see on
Oh,
YouTube?
the dude that ran that just got found out that he embezzled even more money or stole even more money.
I mean,
than thought was.
like, social
just
media-
because they say something.
I didn't realize the Taliban. I'm not on Twitter. I didn't know they had a Twitter.
No,
yeah.
they
That's
do.
fucking crazy.
But we.
All right,
but
based
we
on
pick
that,
and
I don't
choose.
want them there either. But based on that,
We
now
do,
I'm
but
kinda
we do
siding
pick
with
What I'm
and
you.
saying
choose
is-
because that's what society does.
No.
Yes.
See, here's the thing, and I want all because the people who hated Andrew Tate the most were, like, the feminists, and then the dudes
Yeah,
who
he's hating
supported
on
them.
women.
Me too.
Right.
Fuck that.
So here's the thing, though. There will be a time.
He's a fucking douche.
That's
though.
and that's
I know.
fine.
I know.
And that's fine. But he should have the right, just like we all do.
But social, we
can
don't have
get
a right.
canceled.
We
If
don't
someone
have a
doesn't
right.
like what you say, should you get canceled?
It doesn't, like, we don't
Can't
have
yell
a
fire
right.
in a crowded theater.
You don't have a right to social media. Social media companies
Yeah,
are private.
you do have an agreement.
They're
That
private.
you have to select and shit.
That's what people like. People are like, how can YouTube just take this person off of YouTube? It's because YouTube's a private company.
I
You're
do.
so, like,
Yeah, I understand that point. I get the
Like-
company can, but I just hate that they do it because of peer pressure, not so much of
Oh yeah, they just
their
want to look
rights
nice.
or anything like that. They just have a couple people who hate what he says, which you don't have to listen to.
I mean, that's
You
fair.
You don't.
But a lot of, like, especially, like, adolescent and teenagers were like, this guy's, because he did say a lot of, like, just funny stuff that's purposefully, like, a joke. He's like, as a man, you should, like, work out, like, all the time. And it was funny shit that he was saying. But then sometimes he would directly say, like, I don't think women should be allowed to drive. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking
Yeah,
about?
he said that like they owe their man a percentage of their OnlyFans
Yeah.
because she belongs to him.
But listen,
Yeah. Get
the
I'm not
fuck
saying
outta here,
I'm
you
not saying
I'm a
I agree
kickboxer.
with that.
Dude, he has a face. He has teeth and a face of like I can imagine him as a middle school kid. Says it or you want to be like, say it, don't spray it. Like he fucking, and he spits everywhere, and he's got that fucking, just a punchable fucking face.
There has to be a line and a standard, because if not, then they can, anybody, you know, like I said, we could get canceled just because, they don't like what we say.
I mean, that's what society does, though.
But
They've
that's
always
a problem.
done that.
And
I disagree.
and the people that are, you know, yelling and wanting these people to get canceled, there will be a point in time when it comes in full circle, and they're the ones that are going to get canceled for something that they say.
Sure. Which is I think it's a good thing.
Well, this is.
We're in fucking America, bud. Like you shouldn't have. We should not be censored or denied because you don't fit the narrative or you don't say the popular opinion. That's the whole point of why
I disagree
we're
with that.
Yeah.
I disagree with that. If you're a Holocaust denier, I think you're fucking. You could. It is. You are able to say that, but if you really do feel that, and you go ahead and try and convince other people, I know I don't have to watch it, but guess what? I still kind of feel like punching you in the fucking face
and that's
fucking
fine.
your
But
shit
if
up.
I think
But
if
they
No,
should
it's
get
not
canceled
fine.
for
If
that.
Hell yeah, they should.
If
Go
the
fuck
majority of
yourself.
society agrees with something, that's what should happen.
I don't know, man.
That's what even if I disagree with it, if the majority of society agrees with something, that's what should happen because that's
Right?
like for the betterment of everybody.
So what if everyone just got ahead and said, "Let's cancel CNN because we don't like them"?
I hate CNN. I hate Fox News.
I'm just saying.
I hate every
I'm just
major
saying.
news. Then
that'd be the memes would be endless, and I would enjoy every minute of it. Like the Queen dying.
Society is
It's
what
fucking
society
hysterical.
does.
So I'm gonna lighten this up because this got a little out of control there for a moment. Was some of the greats? I gotta finish that. Ricky Gervais,
Gervais,
especially
funny.
with his Golden Globe introduction, basically telling everybody that if ISIS started a streaming service tomorrow, they'd call their fucking agent, called everybody out, told them to get up here, take your trophy, thank your stupid god, and fuck off.
I'm sure they wouldn't get canceled.
No, he's still up there. Patrice O'Neill, of course, definitely made the top list. Down and Dirty with Jim Norton in 2008. He was introduced by Lemmy Kilmister. Yeah, and when he got on the mic too,
Lemmy
he was
is
like,
God.
he thanked Lemmy and was just like, for playing some fucking shit I've never fucking heard before in my life. But, and he was great. He was one of the first that fought in the mid-90s when, what was it, Opie and Anthony said like, they said a phrase. I'm not going to say it, I guess, because if it was, it's really not that bad.
Don't say it.
I won't. But he was on the news, and there was some chick that was complaining about what they said, and he was on there just being like, look, you don't know funny. I know funny. That's my business. You report the news. Like, you don't get it. It's over your fucking head. Like, they're making... Do you think they said that out of... Or you think they were trying to be funny? Was basically what he said.
Right, they're not trying to hurt
Right.
people.
And she was like, whoa, and assaulting women, they put hit the heat, and he was like, assaulting women? They were talking about assaulting women. They were describing a donkey punch. Do you know what that is? You know what I mean? Like, he was one of the first that kind of fought back against cancel culture before that was a thing. To try and save people that were making jokes and getting pulled off of radio for saying a phrase and making jokes that some Karen heard and flipped the fuck out about. Stephen Wright. The one-liner king, and the guy on the couch from Half Baked. All right, we're gonna go rapid fire. Here we go. Anybody comes out to you, you guys go ahead and say yay or nay. Bert Kreischer.
Yay.
Tom Segura.
Yay.
Sam Morril, we already mentioned him. Mark Norman.
Yay.
Joe List.
I don't know.
Joe List.
Don't know.
Tuesdays with Stories. That's Mark Norman and Joe List podcast. Stavi Halakias, of course, that you showed me. One you put me onto, Kyle Kinane.
It's very funny.
Kyle Kinane, hysterical. Joe DeRosa.
Don't know him.
Oh my goodness. Bill Burr.
Yes, yay.
Tom Papa.
Yay.
Yep.
Jim Jeffries.
Yay.
Nick DiPaolo.
Mid.
Nick DiPaolo reminds me of Will so much. I love Nick DiPaolo.
He's mid.
He's getting too political for my taste. I
like-
wish he would just be funny.
I like Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yes, dude, he's my
So-
number one.
Yeah.
Represent. hold
That
on.
Sicilian Italian
Represent the
fucking...
Italians, but he is hilarious.
He made the list as well. He got to it.
Hilarious, but he is my
Yes.
number one right there, dude.
That's how you get
That
Will to
guy.
like you. Don't
Yep.
get canceled. Don't like cancel culture, and be
Love
fucking
Italians.
Italian.
All right, what's your top five? Because I could go on forever. It's
So
too much.
I'm just real quick, and mine's in a specific order.
Okay.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Are we
he's
going-
He's my man. Yeah, number one.
Okay.
I'm starting out with number one. He's my guy. Number 2 right now is Stavros Halkias, whatever.
Halaki.
You're doing great on these names.
I can really watch him for hours.
I can
binge
too.
watch. Ralphie May, R.I.P. Classic. You can watch him anytime. Patrice O'Neill.
Patrice O'Neill.
And Andrew Schultz. I think he's fucking killing it right now.
Yeah.
And just a couple mentions for me is Joey Diaz, Tim Dillon, Bill Burr, and Ari Spears.
Ari Shafir? Or Ari
No,
Spears?
from that.
Ari
Asian,
Spears.
there's a weird thing going on with that right now. Something that they filmed like on Mad TV that has to maybe do with kids.
I don't know, but
We
until
should
that
look into
comes
that,
out, I'd still, at
Ari
least for now, I don't
Spears.
know. On the fence. He's on the fence. And Dave Chappelle. I still like Dave Chappelle. I know he
yes.
wasn't in my top 5, but...
Still like Dave Chappelle.
I still like Dave Chappelle.
Bill Hicks always fucking resonated with me. If you don't know who Bill Hicks is, he died at 32 of pancreatic cancer. He's my age.
Yeah.
Look
Just
up some
splashed
of Bill
myself.
Hicks. Oh my God, it's like listening to my brain on tape.
One quick thing.
Just like this.
You notice how we didn't bring up women for any top comedians? Only one that we thought was overrated.
There are a lot of funny female comedians. They just don't get the spotlight.
Yeah.
But
Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers is fucking hilarious.
Miss you. I miss you.
Ellen
Miss
DeGeneres.
you, Joan.
Ew!
No.
Hold on.
No.
No,
Fuck
no.
Ellen.
I'm not.
No.
Wait, I'm not making that claim. That's just what other comedians put her
Turn
on
it
that
off.
pedestal.
Turn it
I'm
off.
just
No.
saying. I'm sorry.
Turn it off.